Hey everyone, I've actually found The Impossible, which is a video of Mansoor, which is actually reviewable. It's normally just one long big gish gallop from him, but he's very subdued in this because the ex-Muslim he's speaking to absolutely stumps him. Let's take a look.
So tell me, you were just speaking about Tahir with a gentleman earlier on about God has created, and then he should be punished for what he has done. Do you want to elaborate a bit more on this?
I mean, obviously English is not my first language, so if I don't elaborate it properly,
That's fine. I mean,
yes,
your
I'll
English
try
is
my best.
probably better than mine, anyway.
No, I'll just try my best. So what I believe is, for example, if you decide to have children, if you bear children, so it's your responsibility to feed them, to give them clothes, to take care of them. Yeah. If you don't, then you should be punished. You should be punished for that. You should be accountable for that because you've just become a reason to create life in this world, and then you just left them for nothing. Do you think that is bad?
Yeah. So
you should take care of your children if you decide to have them.
If a father has children and he doesn't take care of them, then this is irresponsible father.
Irresponsible of father, and he should be punished for that.
When you say punished,
because see, then.
It's funny, you look at Mansoor, he's already nervous about this line of questioning because it's completely off his usual script. And you can tell that he hasn't really got a good answer.
Then look at the condition of children as well. They're going through like loads of things. People dying out of hunger. They don't have access to medicine and everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the one who have created them should be accountable for them.
Yeah. So I can see the analogy, but let's talk about the.
Right. Good. You can see the analogy because it's quite clear. He's basically saying that Allah is this kind of father. He has created, supposedly in your belief, the entire world, and look at the mess that he's left it in when he's got the power to make things a hell of a lot better, infinitely better. And it's particularly true if you look at the Muslim world. I mean, what's Allah done for them lately?
Father example first. If the father is not looking after the child in any way, shape, or form, not providing
and the child is suffering because of that.
Healthcare, not providing food, shelter, clothing, not showing the love and the care and the support, then the father is irresponsible. And in fact, you can have a law in which the father is punished for his irresponsibility.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're agreeing with him then, because Allah seems to fit that description very, very well. So it sounds like Mansoor wants to punish Allah.
Not looking after. Okay. So this is understood. I think this makes sense.
Yeah.
So how are you making an analogy of the creator?
You just said you understood the analogy, and now you're asking him to explain it. It's really clear.
What is your assessment that the creator is creating a creation, and then he's totally removed from his creation in terms of not guiding them, not providing them with anything? So explain a bit more.
Well, it's pretty clear. I mean, as you have just described, I mean, what has Allah left? Everything that Muslims have is not down to Allah, as far as I can see. There's no great guidance in the Quran. It's full of mistakes, full of errors, full of bad judgments, full of bad advice. So, yeah, sounds like even if this book was from Allah, it sounds like he's done a really bad job in terms of looking after the kids.
What is your understanding, first of all? You have a creator,
so I would just
and the creator's created.
So I would just ask a question, that would make it a bit more easy.
Yeah, this is actually really great from the ex-Muslim guy, because he clearly seen that Mansoor, not only is he struggling, but he's not even really going to understand the conversation at this point. So he rephrases it into a brilliant question.
Okay.
Why do you think I should follow Allah or any God and pray for him and cry and why should I do that?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and you haven't got a good answer.
Should we, pray to God, and why should we follow His laws or wills?
Yeah.
It's simply because this is a natural response.
A natural response. It's simply because it's a natural response. Even though 80% of the world are not Muslims, apparently it's somehow a natural response.
It's a natural response.
I don't feel it.
Okay, so let me.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just wiped out. Everything you've just said there is being destroyed. He doesn't feel it. So therefore, it's not a natural response, is it? Certainly not for most people.
Let me give you an example of what I mean by a natural response.
Yeah.
Suppose you are walking along the road
Yeah.
and you see a particular individual being.
You can tell that as soon as they're off their script, they really struggle. They can't. These Dawa apologists, they have got so little creative thinking. They've got so little off the cuff spontaneity about how they think and how they talk that he is about to describe something that really should take about 20 seconds. The idea that you go and help somebody who's injured. But look at the tortured way he delivers this.
Run over by a vehicle of some kind, right?
Yeah.
Accident happens.
Yeah.
You were the only one there, so you stop by. You're a kind person. You are a person of compassion.
Yeah.
So you didn't just leave that person there.
Yeah.
You just went there, attended to that individual injured person. You realized the person was bleeding. You called an ambulance. You waited there. You forgot all about, not forgot, you postponed all your appointments, whatever, study, work, meeting anything else, or even, eating.
I mean, Jesus Christ, it's taking so long. I love the way he says that, like, even eating. Like, that would be some great sacrifice, not to try and help someone from dying, is to skip your latest meal. I mean, this to him is a big sacrifice.
The ambulance came, you went with the ambulance to make sure that the particular individual.
No, I will go with the ambulance.
So,
I mean, I will call the ambulance.
okay, you'll call the ambulance.
See, look, and this is the tortured part of this example, because he's trying to kind of crowbar in this idea that you're going to be there at the end to get gratitude from the person who you've helped. Whereas, as this guy's just said, most people would call the ambulance and that'd be done with it. They've done their good deed. They don't need to hang around next to the guy's hospital bed to get thanks from him. You'd help the person because it's the right thing to do. And so Mansell's got to squeeze this in that, no, you jump in the ambulance and ride along with him and then hang out next to his bed. I mean, it's so stupid.
Obviously, things
Some duty,
to do
right?
in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Suppose now the ambulance says we need blood right away, and it's not that we're not talking about London scenario. We're talking about somewhere, it could be a remote area. This person is bleeding to death almost. There's no blood, and they did some blood testing, and they found out what the blood type is. And he said, you know what? Check my blood, and it matched.
Yeah.
Would you not give the blood to say?
I will give them.
You would. Any genuine, caring person would.
I can speak to this a personal experience. I mean, he's talking about donating blood. You don't donate blood to get gratitude, which again, this is eventually where he's going with this. He's trying to give these examples to say that, oh, you'd naturally want to be grateful to that person. The whole point about blood donating is that you do it anonymously, in terms of you don't know where that blood goes to. You will never meet the person who you will have helped by donating blood. So you don't do it for the gratitude. You do it because it's the right thing to do, because it's fulfilling a need. You're helping somebody, and you're never ever going to meet them. And this is the funny thing with these Dara apologists. They can't seem to think in those terms. They can't seem to think of a good act for the sake of a good act. It's always got to be for gratitude and getting your point score up with Allah and getting to heaven and all this nonsense. They can't even conceptualize doing something to help a person for no other reason than that.
Save that person. I mean, by giving the blood, the acute injury is maintained. And so,
Yeah.
So the person was unconscious, and the person woke up and heard all of that story. What would be the natural response of that injured person to you? Natural response.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Don't get lost. I didn't want any of that.
Okay.
That person should say, he or she, thank you very much for all your kind and compassionate gesture that you've done, giving me blood and calling me help.
Yeah.
And
So
so on.
I mean, so here's the thing.
Let's understand that. That's a natural response of gratitude.
All right.
Someone's done something for you, you're grateful for that individual.
Okay.
Not that you did this because you wanted thanks.
All right.
Correct?
All right.
Yeah, but in Allah's case, clearly he does want thanks. He wants you to get on the ground and beg and pray to him 5 times a day. So clearly he does want it. And this is the point. Let's look at his scenario. Yes, if you did do this and for some reason you happen to be there afterwards at the hospital, yeah, okay, they thank you. Yeah, I would say that is a natural response. Would it be a natural response to have this person beg and scrape at your feet 5 times a day for the rest of your life? No. That wouldn't be any normal gratitude. That would be the narcissism of forcing somebody to do that, of saying, if you don't do this, you're going to go to hell. So it's a really poor comparison.
You didn't do that because you wanted to get some thank.
But when we look at the Quran, Allah says, pray 5 times a day, do subhanallah or whatever, like with every breath that you take, it looks like Allah is very deprived of attention, and all he wants is attention.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how it looks. The ex-Muslim is spot on there. When you look at the Quran, that's exactly it. This constant, desperate need to be worshipped, to have everybody on their knees in front of them. I mean, why would you do that? I mean, a blood donor's not going to want that. Any kind of sane parent wouldn't want their children to do that. So why is Allah such poor character that this is not only what he demands, but says, you're going to go to hell forever and be tortured if you don't do this?
Let's talk about this one at a time. Firstly, let's talk about your question about why does God ask us to pray? Well, why do we need to pray to God and do all this duty?
No, he said we just skipped away because his analogy has just been absolutely destroyed. This trying to compare him to a blood donor just does not work for Allah.
And so on.
Yeah.
So my response, simple response was to you, was one of natural response of a
Yeah, and that was a stupid response which has been destroyed.
natural gratitude response, which is
Yeah, and the gratitude one is a stupid one, has been destroyed.
gratitude. So if somebody gives you blood system, heart, that circular system.
I mean, I don't know if Allah gave me that or not.
If the belief system is such that
I don't believe that.
No, that's your belief, right?
Yeah.
No problem.
No.
But I'm saying, if in a belief system in which people like myself, I say, Allah has given me the heart and the lungs and the circulatory system and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then He has given me not only this, but the way to maintain and support it. So the food, the oxygen, and all of that to support this machinery. Now, my natural response would be
thank you.
to be thank you. So what I'm saying,
What about those kids born with holes in their heart? Should they say thank you?
okay, carry on.
Nobody asked me if you want to go to Earth and have a life. No asking there, no permissions. So you just, all right, you're born now and live the life, all right? So I never asked for it.
Well, I think you should be grateful to your parents. Your parents should not expect you to be begging on the ground because, again, they didn't ask to be born. If you're going to bring a life into the world, as you say, you've got to have a responsibility. It's not the first thing is, oh, you should thank me, but this is what Allah wants.
Sure.
All right, so I'm not going to say thank you. Allah didn't give me birth because of me. He did it because of Himself. So because Allah says in Quran, because we have created humans and jinn, so that they could pray,
spelling out
praise
because some
me.
people might not know, so that He can worship.
So they can worship Him.
Yeah, I mean, how is that not ego of the highest possible order, of divine order, to simply create these beings to worship Him? I mean, no parent would ever have such a selfish motive for having kids, or if they were, they'd be shit parents.
If, for example, you work for a company and you didn't know what you're supposed to do, then every individual employee will do whatever they think it's supposed to be.
They would never hire a person who doesn't know what to do. If they hire people, they would tell them what to do.
It's important to know if you are going to be...
And then people have to be willing as well. People have to be willing as well because they want to join the company. Then they tell them what to do. Otherwise, they have a free choice to walk away.
Yeah, and exactly. And the company doesn't have the power then to say, if you don't want to work for us, you're going to be tortured in hell forever.
You know?
So let's go back to the point.
So it's another stupid analogy. I mean, again, these Dara apologists can never make a good analogy.
About if that injured person didn't ask you to do all of that.
Yeah.
Then
If he had a sign that if I'm in danger, don't rescue me, I wouldn't do it.
It's not.
So what I want is Allah.
I mean, look at Mansour. He's really struggling here. This is so funny. I just have to enjoy this because he's normally so arrogant, this guy, so cocky, simply because he yells over people. He's got his stupid script and he gish gallops in every conversation. But here, he's like a little church mouse.
To leave me alone, let me do my thing.
Let's deal, one
question at a time.
That injured person did did not have a contract with you in any way that he should be grateful or she should be grateful to you because of what you've done.
So what you're saying is we've got a contract with Allah to be grateful. This is what you're trying to say. And this is the reason you worship. Because even though Allah created you by his own volition, you didn't ask it to happen. You're in a contract with him forever to beg at his feet.
And
that is a natural response.
Yeah.
So if...
It's not a natural response. You can keep repeating that bullshit, but it's not a natural response, as he described. And also because 80% of people at least are not Muslim.
We are already created and believe that God has created us.
Yeah.
Has given us all of this without me asking for any of it. I didn't...
Yeah, but again, are some of the people who've been born into dreadful circumstances, are some of the children who were born into this horrible poverty, are they supposed to be grateful for that?
All of what? Life?
I didn't ask for a healthy body. I didn't ask for the sustenance.
Yeah, and people with disabilities didn't ask for that. Are they supposed to be grateful?
But I've been provided all of that.
People are given bad bodies.
Let's talk about me, one at a time.
Yeah, just about you, exactly. Because if you move on to people who've got significant physical or mental health issues, suddenly this argument doesn't work. So this is just about you now, isn't it?
What me? I didn't ask any of that.
Yeah.
So you're saying because, there wasn't a contract for me, like I didn't ask for anything because I didn't ask anyone to do all of that, I should not thank God? Like this injured person shouldn't thank you? It doesn't follow.
No, it does. Well, again, even if you were to, first of all, grant that Allah was actually real and that, okay, somehow he deserves gratitude for this very mixed life. How much is enough? Why not just one thank you? Why does it need to be every day, 5 times a day for the rest of your life?
Because what you have got and received, once you understand and appreciate that, your natural response is one of gratitude. Yes, okay, fine. When, for example, you give a poor individual, a poor person, some financial support with some money, now the person might say, I didn't ask you for that, but the fact that once you've given it to them, it's only natural to say, thank you for giving me that.
It might be natural to say thank you. It's not natural to do it 5 times a day for the rest of your life. And it's certainly not natural for the creator of the universe, who is supposed to be maximum of all positive capacities, to want you to constantly thank you and to burn you in hell if you don't. That's not natural.
If he never asked for money, I gave him the money anyways. So if he doesn't say thank you, I say, all right, I didn't do it for you, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So this ex-Muslim has proved that he's got better morality than Allah has.
Whether the person says thank you or not, that's something different. Yeah. But the person who received, who's receiving, the natural response, which seems to be a reasonable one, is to be grateful.
Yeah.
Yes, you can say thank you, but that's not what Allah's asking for. He's asking for a hell of a lot more than that.
That is something that I'm addressing. So gratitude is something that you don't ask for it, you give it because you appreciate what's been given and provided to you.
Yeah, but that's not why Muslims do it, do they? You're doing it because you're afraid of the punishment if you don't. You're afraid of being tortured for eternity. So this isn't gratitude, this is fear.
Right. So we as Muslims, we believe God, Allah has created us, and He's given us guidance.
Garbage guidance to anyone who hasn't read the Quran.
He's given us all these provisions, maintenance, and things to support us and to live in this life in a way which is beneficial for us, good for us, so that we can live in harmony, we can live in tranquility, and we can live in fairness, and we can live in justice. And
tranquility, harmony, fairness, justice. Do these words really reflect a world where Islam is dominant? I mean, for goodness sake, Mansour, I'm not sure where this guy is from, but if those things come from Islam, why are you living in England? Because you didn't get any of those from that. This is a non-Islamic society. This is where you are finding whatever semblance of those things you can. Didn't come from Islam, my friend.
So on. If we appreciate that, and we know that this is the case, our natural response is one of gratitude.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, you've said that about 50 times, and this argument was destroyed in the first minute. So how desperate are you now? Just going to keep saying gratitude over and over.
Right. Now, what Allah has told us is that He's told us that this is what we should be doing, because if you don't do that, then some people may be giving gratitude, which is already within your natural response makeup, to something else. Like you may be giving gratitude to a tripod or a fence or whatever, not knowing.
So Allah's jealous now that somebody else might get some of the gratitude. I mean, how egotistical is this God?
Where gratitude should be due. Imagine now, instead of thanking you, that individual thanks the tire of the ambulance.
What the fuck does that even mean?
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So why did you say it?
To give gratefulness, oh tire, thank you. Oh petrol, thank you. No, I mean, it's you the ones. Means, right? We are grateful for human beings to help us and so on, but ultimately.
Well, yes, exactly. This is the point, isn't it? It's the humans did more for that person than Allah ever did.
Yeah. Our gratitude is the one who has provided all of this ultimately. So this is the Islamic perspective of why need to...
I've just got the books and I'll read them.
Sure. We need to be grateful to our Creator. So it's not that our Creator needs and have wants.
Allah doesn't want it. Then why does he tell you to do it? That makes no sense. Of course he wants you to. And this idea that he doesn't need it, then why is he asking? If he doesn't want it, doesn't need it, what's he asking it for? No, not asking. What's he demanding it for on threat of eternal hell? I mean, if he doesn't want it, imagine if he did want something. What the hell would he do to you then if he didn't get it?
Of our gratitude, we need. That is why we have to pray for our guidance and to continue to be on the right track.
I mean, I don't want any guidance. If Allah created me and gave me a healthy body, thank you, and now leave me alone. Let me do.
Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with that? Thank you, Allah. Right, now leave me alone. I'll get on with my own life with what you've given me.
My business and live life however I want it to be, and just leave me alone. I don't want any guidance. I don't want any food. I'll struggle for it. I'll
So you're going to stop breathing his air and oxygen and water, drinking.
Because Allah created it.
Yeah.
First of all, when you give birth to a child, it's your responsibility to give them food.
Yeah. So if
yeah, exactly. So he's just pointing the back. If you're going to create a life, you've got some minimum responsibility to provide the basics for them, so that they can actually live that life to some kind of civilized minimum.
Allah gave you the food, the sustenance to live.
Because He created us without my permission.
Yeah. So when He gave you...
Yeah. You don't address that though, do you? You don't address that very, very good point.
The air and you don't want it, stop breathing the air. By all means, you're more than welcome.
So then it's Allah who is responsible for it, because He created me now without my permission. Yeah. So it's His responsibility to give me the means to live as well.
Yeah, He does. Yeah. That's the point that I want to address.
It's all right.
So
I thank Him. That's it.
No, when you asked that He is like an absent father without any care, that is the concept of deism. Do you know deism is a concept in...
Have you seen people in Africa?
Yeah.
How they live?
Yeah.
Their life conditions?
Yeah.
It's not just Africa, it's all over the world. There is, to greater or lesser degree, this kind of suffering. And the only thing that mitigates it is humans. So how has Allah provided for all those people? I mean, the UN food program provides more than Allah does.
Partly we are to blame.
We are to blame.
Yeah, we are to blame.
All right.
Of course, yes, of course. So yeah, whenever there's anything beneficial, it's thanks to Allah. Whenever anything is fucked up, including natural disasters, which we have no control of, including diseases, which we have no control of, suddenly that's our fault, is it? How is it that the tsunami that killed hundreds of thousands of children, many of them Muslims, in, what was it, 2004, I think it was, how is that down to us? Did we create the tsunami? Were they all just bad Muslims that got killed there?
So
the world is partly to blame.
Yeah.
Governments are partly to blame.
Don't you think?
Partly to blame.
Don't you think rather than they're
Islam is also partly to blame. I mean, especially if you look at Africa. I mean, I'm pretty sure the East Africans didn't appreciate 1,000 years of slavery brought by Islam. But okay, yes, there are lots of factors involved. But again, look at natural disasters. Who is to blame for that if not the Creator?
to blame. But don't you think, rather than letting them die out of hunger, Allah should do something for them?
Yes, Allah has done enough, and I will give you...
Allah has done enough.
No.
I mean, how's he got the balls to say that? Allah's done enough. I mean, seriously, Mansour should be forced to live in one of the most poverty-stricken areas of the world and then repeat that bullshit claim.
No, Allah has done and is doing throughout. I'll show you where.
What has Allah done for them lately or ever, really? I mean, whatever help that people get in their desperation is down to the kindness of other people.
We are not receiving that support and the maintenance and provisions of
if people they try to snatch my food, all right, and my father, he should protect me if I'm young enough to not be able to protect me. Rather than I protected you,
we will go through step by step. Firstly,
and just a minute, please. I have to go to the museum. I don't have any time. So
do you want to spend a few more minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how many more minutes, you are not going to be able to recover from this train wreck. You really aren't. You've looked appallingly bad in this video, Mansour.
Because it's quite interesting.
It would be closed by 5. Okay. So I'm only a tourist. I have to go back on a Tuesday.
Okay, so just going to
I mean, it's a damn shame. I mean, he's a tourist. We're probably never going to see him again. His face is blanked out. I'd love to buy this guy a beer because he was very impressive in this video.
Summarize then. Yeah. It is incorrect to think God is an absent father in which he doesn't look after and care and maintain. In fact, one of his names, one of his titles is Rabb.
I know.
He's Rabbul Alameen. He's the one who not only created and guided and showed them, but he's the provider. He once one provides everything.
Look at the evidence, though. Especially where Islam is dominant, especially where Islamic theocracy is dominant. It's nothing but a hellscape.
So it is not like a deist God in which God left everything alone. No, he continuously provides. He's called Ar-Razzaq, the provider. You might not appreciate that.
Well, yeah, some evidence of that provision would be nice, which you can't give. Just telling us what his names are and what he's supposedly done and what the Quran says, that doesn't mean shit, Mansour.
But he's the one who provided you the air, the oxygen, and the water, and the food that you eat, and told you which foods to eat, the good food and the beneficial food, and to abstain from the bad food, and so on and so forth.
Really? Because I don't notice anywhere in any Islamic literature Allah saying don't eat sugar, which is one, you know, it contributes to how many premature deaths. There's nothing about that, is there? So it's not exactly a great guidance.
He sends guidance with prophets and messengers, I'm summarizing, in which he tells you the best way to live your life. So looking after you.
So, I mean, he's just gone into full preach mode now. And this is what they always do. Whenever they have a fuck up, like this kind of video, they do this attempted face-saving summarization at the end when they know the person's just going to walk off and not really challenge it, to try and make it look like they haven't been humiliated. But really, you have, Mansour. You've looked so bad.
And making sure that you don't fall into the errors of going into the wrong path and killing yourself, injuring yourself, and cause suffering. He wants to minimize all your suffering by providing ways and means through prophets and messengers, a way in which is the best way to live your life.
Really? So the ways means cutting your hands off if you steal. That's a way to minimize suffering, is it? Killing apostates is a way to minimize suffering, is it? Killing adulterers is the way to minimize suffering, is it? I mean, marrying a 9-year-old girl is a way to minimize suffering, is it?
So it is not correct to think that way, but because we don't have time to explore that, this is would have been a way for you to look into that.
All right, thank you.
You've not been able to address the serious points that he's made. You've got no good reason to worship Allah. You've got no good reason to persuade anybody else to do so.
Very much. And can you please guide me? Where's the Natural History Museum?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and whatever guidance he might have given him that day would be better than anything Allah's ever done. The ex-Muslim raised some really good points. Even if we accepted that Allah was real, why does he need this bowing and scraping 5 times a day? How comes human beings, so much more flawed than Allah should be, are satisfied with just a thank you, or even will do acts where they expect no thanks whatsoever? They'll never be thanked for what I do. Like talking about like the blood donating. You will never ever receive thanks for that. Yet millions of people do it because it's the right thing. Allah hasn't got even that level of character in him. He demands that you bow and scrape, and if you don't do it, you're going to burn in hell forever. Mansour had no answer to any of that. So well done to the ex-Muslim, and I'll see you all in the next one.